Come, let us adore him. I invite you, make sure to grab a little bubble-making device as you leave and make your way to your scrumptious Christmas Eve delights. It is a gift to pray with you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for our wonderful readers who share in the story of Christ's birth today. How wonderful that we can gather and pause just for a moment this evening. How wonderful that through tradition and time and space, going back to St. Francis of Assisi, we've been singing carols. How wonderful that "O Come Only Faithful" has been taking us back to almost the time of Rome in 159, originally in Latin. How wonderful that even today, at 428 Park Avenue, this little church near the beach, we get to continue to share this rich story of a life that changed the world, this Jesus of Nazareth, this light of hope. And how wonderful that it takes the vulnerability of a baby. That noise, that very noise, right? Isn't it wonderful that that baby reminds us that it wasn't a big bounding voice of this ridiculous preacher this evening that stirred the world, or even an emperor in that time like Herod. It wasn't a well-dressed king who changed the world. It was the cry of a baby. Have you ever had an infant or a child grip your finger and draw you close? Have you ever experienced that? No matter how big and scary of a used to play rugby in my youth player you might be, there's just something powerful in this power of this vulnerable baby pulling on you, right? Tag. Have you had that? Pulling on your finger. I love that imagery because that for me is the nativity. It is the vulnerability of this child, this word made flesh, that pulls onto the finger of humanity and almost draws in the whole cosmos into this cradle, making a sound very much like Callie, who's the little one at the back there. That's her name. And how wonderful that in the mystery of us all being pulled into this cradle this night, we remember this birth, this word made flesh into the world of a God, an immaterial being that lives outside of time and space and is the ultimate expression of love. And one who was pulling my finger last week is Niccolo. He's also moving to the back. And that's okay. Last week at Niccolo's baptism, he tugged at my finger, so I've been struck by this imagery of the vulnerability of babies tugging at the powerful fingers of adults, of those who are in need of some sign of hope, of those in need of some good news, of those who are in need of new beginnings. Isn't that what a child usually brings? I hope it does for most of us. And how wonderful. I've had the gift of being present to 3 of my children, to all 3 of their births. And how wonderful. And in that hospital bed, in that room, my spouse doing something I couldn't even fathom what it is to as I described it, giving that love push to a child. But how wonderful that the gift of the birth of young children, I don't hear anybody in the hospital room going, "You are unlovable." Right? When a baby is born, it is wonder. It is risk. And how wonderful that we step into that risk-taking this evening. How wonderful that we gather and we pause, we share Christmas carols through time and tradition, we share this nativity, we hear the story so that we might be, I believe, reminded to see afresh and prepare our hearts anew to let that light shine once again in my life, in your life, so that we are reminded what we are made for. In my South African context, Ubuntu. I am because we are. humanity tied up in one another. I am because we are. What a wonderful reminder. What a wonderful needed message. This time as the human family. May we melt into the joyful tugging of this Christ child in the manger. May we hold our breath in mystery. And how might you do it differently when you leave this place, friends? Because how wonderful, we still lift up Bishop Nicholas, St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, the giver of gifts, Bishop of Asia Minor. He was at the Council of Nicaea in 354, just saying. How wonderful that we keep that memory of gift-giving going with St. Nicholas. What gift do you bring to the manger this night? What gift do you bring to the human family to celebrate the tapestry of all that we are? Beyond language, beyond ethnicity. What song, what common song do we sing of hope to a world in need, of hope so that our youngsters might go, wow. Look at that tapestry of love and joy. And so that's another reason I offer bubbles, so that when you leave today, that your prayers may rise like bubbles and float around in the neighborhood. That whatever is circling on your heart that's weighing you down, perhaps this week, this weekend, and if you've been traveling, it's blessings. It's good to be here at the beach. Blessings and prayers to my colleagues and my friends who are dealing with that cosmic, what is it? The deep freeze that's happening. Safety and prayers and blessings to all of them. It is a gift to pause this evening with you. It is a gift to gather at this nativity and sing with you. It is a gift to hear from the voices of children that there is still light of hope in a world in need of love. And may we be that healing balm of love in the neighborhood, as Callie and Nicola and Isabella and Cora and Oliver and Larry and Karen, our readers, tug on our fingers and draw us deeper into this manger as we say yes to the light of life and the light of hope. And as we blow our bubbles together, to that I will always say, Amen.